A beautiful evening to you. You're welcome to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Mano. Very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sport. On today's edition of the show, we shall take a look at some results over the weekend in the top 5 leagues, not forgetting the Nigerian Premier Football League as well. We saw something about the weekend and we're going to bring that to you on the show. So we'll urge you to sit tight as we're very ready this evening to take you 360 around the beautiful world of sport. Take a break and we'll come back from the break, of course, or unravel all that you need to know revolving around the world of sport. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Committee to fostering a diverse sporting culture, the chairman of the National Sport Commission, Mr. Diko, has promised equal opportunities for sports to flourish in Nigeria. Addressing sports stakeholders, he referred the National Sport Commission's dedication to creating a level playing field across various disciplines, allowing athletes and fans of all sports to thrive. Michael, for me, I think this is a very good initiative coming from the chairman. There was a time, where we actually heard of a certain federation begging for money to actually go compete, for a particular, championship as well. That was the African Championship as well that we had this year. I think we heard that the Volleyball Federation, they were not giving money, they were not to participate. They have to seek for funds. Impressive performance. So I think this time
a major factor whether Shehu Diko expectation, but let's take him by his word. If he has said he's willing to ensure that other sports develop, it's not just about coming to the media to make some of these big statements. It's about we've seen a substantial improvement of the sporting sectors in all angles, not just the king of sport is football, because he's familiar when it has to do with the administrative aspect of sport. He's familiar with football. Coming to other sports this time around, I don't know how he's going to make this happen, but I think within the ecosystem of sport, there should be an even development of sport generally, and not just narrowing it down to football, which is the big task that is standing Malam Shehu Diko out there as the chairman of the National Sport Commission. Hopefully, I cannot be pessimistic at this point in time because, let's give him a chance, and a chance has been given to him. The next question is for us to see if he can be able to implement some of these lofty ideas of him trying to bring a facelift to other sporting sector, call it table tennis, basketball, handball, taekwondo, wrestling, curling. There are so many. We have over 32 different sport disciplines right here, different sporting federation, that we need to also improve. And the ability of this sport to be holistically developed gives Nigeria an edge. And when we head for national championship or, global competition, such as the Commonwealth Game, talk about the Olympic and all of that, when we get to enhance the sports sector generally, other than focusing solely on football, I tell you, it's going to be a very big advantage for Nigeria as a country, when we are heading for any major competition out there. But then, I think it is an enormous task that is standing before Shehu Diko. But hopefully, like I said, he's going to achieve all of these.
All right, let's see how it is. We hope that Shehu Diko, of course, will achieve what the plans he has actually put. A remarkable performance yesterday by pulling a stunning 3-2 comeback victory against Japan's number 5 seed Tomokazu Harimoto on the opening day for the World Table Tennis Championship in Frankfurt. Aruna ranked 24th in the world, began convincingly, but fell by conceding 7-11 and 11-13 in the first 2 sets, igniting hope for the Japanese to secure the victory. The victory also earned him a place in the round of 16 and his second ever win at the World Table Tennis Championship level. Following his first win in the Montpellier last week, Aruna will continue to blaze a trail of 4 African table tennis on the global stage in the round of 16 as he faces the winner between Spain's Alvaro Robles and Germany Ricardo Walter. Michael, Aruna looks as if he's back now to his best at this point in time. We've understand how the season has been for him. Hasn't really that been rosy, but putting up this comeback, the question is how far can he go this?
Do that in a very grand style fashion, because the first set and second set he was trailing behind. He had to come back. To after down to the round of 16 right now, which for me I think is a major improvement, a very big move for him. If he can continue to stay consistent in the course of this championship, I see him also jumping in the ranking in a better position, because as it is right now, he's seated 21st in the world and did pretty well even compared to our other African counterpart, talking about Omar Asa, who was also eliminated in the first round of the competition as well. So I think for Haruna Quadri is the only hope for Africa, not just Nigeria, but African continent, to continue to push to see if we can be able to at least, go far in this very competition. And I tell you, it's been an impressive record for Haruna Quadri over the course of the years that he has been very active for representing the country and the continent of Africa. A lot of responsibility on his shoulder whenever any championship comes calling, when you talk about the table tennis out there. Of course, you know that anytime Haruna Quadri is not in our team or the contingent of Team Nigeria in whatever championship we are heading to, it is always a very big problem. We've struggled to win without Haruna Quadri. So I believe, he's going to make good use of this very opportunity this time around to at least surpass his previous outing in the WTT event. And for me, I think he has what it takes, because he has been able to rest enough for the season so far. This is his first outing for about a month plus right now. So I believe with all that rest that he's taken, this could also, be that time for him to also show the talent of what he's made up of. They haven't made it to the round of 16. The next, hurdle is for him to see if he can be able to sit up in his next game and see if he can also clinch victory in that very one. And that would be a good boost and a lift for him.
Of course, just like you heard from Michael down there, Omar Asa of Egypt failed to go beyond the first round for the men's single after losing to Sweden's Anton Quebec 3-0. That was a very, very disappointing performance, you say, from Omar Asa, one man who has, of course, shown his prowess so far in table tennis down here in Africa. And away from that, Germany's Alexander Zverev claimed a straight-set win over home favourites Ugo Humbert to clinch his first Paris Masters title. The new world number 2 beat the French number 1 6-2, 6-2 over the weekend to secure the 7th ATP 1000 title of his career. Michael, what do you make of the performance, from Alexander Zverev, and as well this season? This has been a rosy one for him so far.
No doubt, no doubt. It's been a rosy season for Zverev so far. Clinching the 1,000 points and the money that comes with it, I think for me is very impressive. Maybe he can also push himself to be among the top 8 players that is going to finish the season, the ATP season out there in Germany, very strong, because it is only players that are ranked from the first and down to 8th position that will be part and parcel of that one. And I hope with the points rank that he has garnered from this, it can also help to push him to be part of the season-ending ATP event out there in Germany. But I tell you, it has been a glorious season for Alexander Zverev. Let's hope that he can also maintain this consistency so that even as the likes of the big names, talking about Novak Djokovic, we soon say bye-bye to the game. We can also have another big name that can be able to stay on that stage to mount a serious dominance with the likes of Jannik Sinner or even Carlos Alcaraz.
Does it look like one of them, or one of a player? Does it look like a player that could stage much dominance at the top in tennis in the ATP?
Whether he looks like a player that can stage that dominance is a question for another day. Let's be hopeful, because like I said, now that some of the big names have also retired, leaving only Novak Djokovic on the line right now, is one of the big names, talking about Zverev, and there is anything to go by from his impressive performance so far this season. If he can be consistent and replicate the same form, maybe next season we can begin to say yes, he is or would be among the big name for us to expect to dominate the world of tennis in the near few years to come.
All right, let's see how it goes. Zverev putting up a very impressive performance down there. And away from that, British #1, Ketsibota was comfortably beaten in straight sets by Russian top seed Adana Snezda in the final of the Hong Kong Open. Bota, seeded second, was bidding to win a 10th WTA title of the season, but was never in the contest, losing 6-1, 6-2 to the world #14 in 1 hour 11 minutes. Despite the defeats, Bota will move into the world top 25 for the first time after a strong finish of the season. Snezda has now won all four WTA finals that she has played in this season across all 3 surfaces, following victories in Thailand, Hungary, and as well Germany. But let's go down to the WTA finals as Iga Swiatek looking forward to claim her world #1 spot that she beat, as of course she put up a comeback win over Barbara Krejcikova in the WTA finals group stages. Poland Swiatek trailed the Wimbledon champion by a set and double break before regrouping to win 4-6, 7-5, 6-2. Iga Swiatek, Michael, can she reclaim world #1 spot? Taking a look at this comeback.
Very possible for Iga Swiatek. We know the quality of Iga Swiatek, what she brings to the table, especially when it matters most. I think if there's anything to go by from her impressive display over the weekend, I will say absolute yes to that, just a matter of time, she will regain back her #1 spot there, because the point disparity is not that much between she and the #1 tennis player as it is in the WTA right now. Talking about Arena Zabalenka out there with less than 80 points disparity. I think if she continues to push and possibly do well in this very one, you may want to say yes, she's still in a very good position to reclaim back her world #1. And for Arena Zabalenka, there is no 100% assurance that she's even going to finish in this very one and to clinch the point as well, which might also help her to also continue to give Iga Swiatek a gap as a world #1. So for me, it's looking likely that Iga Swiatek might soon take back her or reclaim back her #1 spot if she can continue with this impressive performance that we saw over the weekend.
All right, let's see how it goes. We look forward to see how this one, of course, will pan out at the end of the day. Iga Swiatek, can she reclaim her #1 spot at the stand? Let's move straight now as we bring you the latest from Formula One this evening as Max Verstappen climbed up from 17 on the grid to win the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. One of his greatest victories, taking him to the brink of a fourth world title. A rival and the Norris of McLaren had a difficult race, finishing sixth after a couple of key errors to fall 62 points agreed for Verstappen, with a 86 still available in the final three races. Michael, what do you make of it? Was a very impressive one for Max Verstappen from 17 on the grid to winning the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
Very impressive one for Max Verstappen, having struggled in the last 3 to 4 races right now. I mean, it was more like saying that nobody will expect him to come top in that very one, especially the controversy that have actually rocked his season in the last 3 races right now, where so many drivers were up against him, criticizing him for dangerous driving and all of that. Even the last races, the last race, rather, he was actually punished because of one of those dangerous driving out there. But this time around, he was able to mount a serious comeback after staying for almost how many weeks without winning any race after the 7 races that he has won over the course of the season. So I think for me, it was an impressive way for Max Verstappen to reclaim back that headline once more, winning 8 of the races so far with few races to go. He now has about 86 points lead as it is, and for me, I think I will say that Max Verstappen might this season again be crowned champion. Look at other drivers and other constructors, the way they are faring, and the point margin that Max Verstappen is leading right now. I had expected maybe the likes of McLaren or even Ferrari to be the top challenger for this weekend, the last weekend race against the Red Bulls, but then they were nowhere to be found. They were very disappointing, allowing Esteban Ocon of Alpine, surprisingly, who almost in majority of the race this season, it's either he finished 10th or in 9th. Well, he has been shuffling between 10th and 9th position. In fact, for the majority of the season, Esteban Ocon is in 10th, finishes 10th position. So this time around, surprisingly, for him to leapfrog the likes of Lewis Hamilton, London Norris, Russell, to jump to compete against Max Verstappen, I think it was the biggest surprise, not just for Esteban Ocon, but for the Alpine drivers, because they finished 2nd and 3rd. So I was trying to find it very difficult on the reason why these 2 drivers from Alpine had to make such podium finish, where we always know them. We see that they finish 9th or 10th position. So something must be wrong somewhere within the McLaren, the Ferrari driver. If not, I do not see Alpine finishing 2nd or 3rd, because over the course of the season, they've been very, very disappointed. But then, it is what it is, and that is what we expect in the world of sport, where we see maybe a shocker sometimes. It is one of those excitement that keeps the followers of Formula One on their toes, because if the result continue to go the same way, then it becomes monotonous, it becomes very uninteresting, for so many Formula One followers. But some of these shocks in between actually makes the game of Formula One very, very exciting. But like I said, it's a very big congratulations to Max Verstappen, because he's looking likely to win this one again for this season, despite the fact that he has been the only man for the Red Bull to carry the burden of Red Bull. His teammate, talking about Sergio Perez, I don't know. I don't even see him within the 10th spot again, whether they've actually stopped him, But then, I think it was an impressive one. And then again, big congratulations to Esteban Ocon for, surprising so many out there, because for me, I'll keep saying, it was a very big shocker for me, seeing Esteban Ocon finishing in the 2nd position.
All right, let's see how this one, of course, will pan out at the end of the day. It's been an impressive one. Talking about Max Verstappen, we'll hope that, of course, he would actually get his 4th drivers, championship. But talking about the race, we told you Max Verstappen finished 1st. Esteban Ocon finished second, and Pierre Gasly of Alpine as well finished third. George Russell of Mercedes came fourth. Charles Leclerc came fifth, and Lando Norris of McLaren came sixth. Yuko Tsunoda came seventh, and Oscar Piastri came eighth. Liam Lawson came ninth. Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes, of course, came 10th in that particular one. At this point, we'll take a break. We'll come back from the break. I'll bring you, the latest from the Nigerian Premier Football League. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back as the Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports this moment. And it's time for me to talk football on the show, and we'll take a look at the Nigerian Premier Football League as we saw Match Day 10 over the weekend, and was really, of course, an impressive one as a total of 20 goals, of course, were scored across different centers, and we saw two away wins, and as well a draw and 7 home victories. Michael, what do you make of the statistics from the Nigerian Premier Football League Match Day 10 fixtures?
There is nothing to make of the statistics, Kingsley. 10 games in 10 different venues producing 20 goals. It's an average of 2 goals per game. Just 2 away wins, 7 home wins, and 1 draw. I mean, there is no much, impact in that statistics, because if we had about 10 games in 10 different centers, at least if you are recording about 4 away wins, that could be very okay, but recording just 2 wins, scoring a total of 20 goals in 10 games, whereas there are some leagues, very strong league and very competitive, very viable leagues, that just 5 games alone can produce more than 25 goals. So for me, but then it is maybe it's not something I would say I'm surprised, because it's tradition about the Nigerian Premier Football League, which of course we are still hoping that we are going to see more improvement, as it is. But I think outside of that, I would say it has been a very good weekend for some teams out there. Some mixed feeling for some teams, and some, bad result for some teams like Rivers United, who their unbeaten run came to an end, surprisingly by a team that no one expected. So generally, I think for the statistics aspect of it, there's nothing much to make of it.
Nothing much, of course, to make of the statistics in the Nigerian Premier Football League Match Day 10. Rangers beat Nasarawa United 2 goals to 0. What a way for Rangers to bounce back. Really been, of course, a little bit of struggling moments for them. But Kano Pillars were able to beat Plateau United 1 goal to 0 as well. Sunshine Stars lost to Insurance by 2 goals to 1. Abia Warriors lost at home to Heartland FC 1 goal to 0. Michael in that encounter. Emmanuel Amonike gradually, setting up, a very good, mood down there, of course, for Heartland as well as their fans.
We hope that this is not going to be a one-off thing. We hope we can continue to get this kind of positive result, because it hasn't been an impressive one for Heartland since the start of last season itself, where they got relegated. If not for the slot of Beyond Limit that they took, they should have been battling life out there in the NNL. But then this season as well, they've also started in a very poor form. But we hope that this victory against their neighbor, talking about Abia Warriors, can also propel them further going forward this season, to start getting positive results, to actually see if Heartland can stay afloat the Nigerian Premier Football League this season.
Let's see how it goes, of course, for Heartland. Barca United played 1-1 draw against Enyimba Football Club, and Ikorodu City beat Rivers United 2 goals to 0. One of the surprising results we saw over the weekend, Michael. What do you make of that particular one?
When there was this whole hula baloo of Rivers United playing unbeaten and all of that, I told people, hey, come on, it is too early call to start making right now. We shouldn't make anything big out of Rivers United, playing 9 games without losing any, and truly, I do not believe that Rivers United can go 12 to 15 games unbeaten. I knew it that somehow, somewhere, they were going to crumble at some point in time, and it took them Match Day 10 to actually crumble, where Ikorodu City unexpectedly actually had to humble them and stain that their unbeaten record to the season so far. So for me, I wasn't surprised that they lost a game, but I was surprised because of the caliber of team that actually stopped their unbeaten run in Ikorodu City, a team that got promotion or got promoted from the NNL last season down to the Nigerian Premier Football, a team that's find life very difficult in their first 4-5 NPFL games. It's just the last 4-3 games that they began to show that instinct of saying, okay, it is time for us to start picking points. And immediately they got their first 3 points at home 4 weeks ago. They've been on a resurgence, going away, picking vital points as well. And for me, I think it is a great one for Ikorodu City if they can keep up with this kind of performance, because it will help them to stay afloat the Nigerian Premier Football League. But for Rivers United, I think it was a litmus test for Finidi George to see how far he has been able to tinker this team around. We now see that, when it matters most, he actually dropped a point against Ikorodu City. What if it is to be the big boys? He hasn't played some of the big boys yet, and there are still many games to come. So I think it is also a call, a wake-up call for Finidi George, so that he will not think that it is yet an uhuru for them, that you have played 9 games unbeaten. That might also get into their head and think they become, indomitable. But then it is very clear that they are not as strong as many people touted them to. Even play 9 games without losing. This team, Remo Stars, that had lost 2 games out of the 9 games that they played, were still sitting second, even against Rivers United, that had not lost a single game. And it was 2 points that was separating them. So for me, I think it's a litmus test, like I said, for Finidi George. But then let's hope that this one is going to be a wake-up call for Finidi George to sit up, so that he will truly know that, man, there is more work to do for me.
Nigeria Tornadoes beat Shooting Stars by 1-0. Akwa United beat Kwara United by 2-1. Remo Stars beat Lobby Stars by 1-0. Michael, Daniel Mokachi is still trying to put his Lobby side, in Lobby Stars' side in order.
Yeah, I think it's been a very tasking job for Daniel Amokachi. And if there is anything to go by from some of the information that I'm tracking, is that Daniel Amokachi has said that he need to take a rest so as to attend to his gray hair that is actually coming. He's going to give the baton, to his assistant to take 100% charge of the matches right now. I don't know whether he's indirectly saying that I have resigned or not, but we wait. Maybe in the next 24 hours we get a clearer picture to what Daniel Amokachi is saying. But for me, I think it has not been an impressive start for Daniel Amokachi. But we'll just wait to see, like I said, if that statement will be made official by Lobby Stars.
Talking about him taking a rest, is it that the man is just being shy of embracing his job whenever he's been appointed, or probably given a job? We saw what he did in the time of Finidi George with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It was meant to be his assistant, and all of a sudden we got to report that he's not going to be around, for the games that the Super Eagles will be playing. And from there, we didn't even see him on the touchline or probably on the bench for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Same thing now coming with Lobby Stars. What do you make of Daniel Amokachi with his coaching career? Is it that he does not want to dent his name, or probably whenever it's going bad, or whenever things are going bad or going wrong, he tried to step aside to make sure that maybe he does not have any stain on his career?
I think for me, there are so many angles to it. Maybe one is that he doesn't want to come to the media to actually unravel what is happening behind the scene between him and Lobby Stars. And then again, secondly, just maybe he did not want to stain his name, seeing that the result that is not going well for Lobby Stars, and maybe he want to be on the safe side. There are so many coins to it. That is why I said we should wait. Maybe in the next 24 or 48 hours, we'll get to, see the reason. And sometimes there are some people that are diplomatically wise, in the sense that sometimes they try to look at the bigger picture of not trying to dent or strain the relationship between them and the club or some other officials out there, and that is why most time they try to be more sensible in the way they approach matters. There are some people naturally that they don't have that time of, maybe trying not to blow matters out of proportion. For example, a coach like Jose Mourinho, if anything goes wrong, he doesn't care. He comes to the media to tell it to the world the way it is. There are some people that are like that. There are some coaches and individuals that are like that. They don't, have time to say, okay, I want to maintain this relationship. Let me not blow things out of proportion. But there are some people as well that sometimes they just are very, very careful not to also stray the relationship that they had with some organization or some persons out there. This might be one of the reasons that Daniel Amokachi is not coming plain to tell us or to tell the world the reason for this decision that he's taken. And of course, he saw during his time, as it was rumored that he was going to be the assistant of Finidi George. Somehow, along the line, he gentlemanly, in quotes, shifted away from that responsibility. And the reason for that, till date, nobody have heard. He hasn't come to the media. So maybe he's just been very, very tactful not to also blow things out of proportion. But then only time will tell.
Only time will tell, and we'll see what comes up for Lobby Stars going forward as well. Let's quickly move down to the Premier League as we saw some exciting results as well. Tottenham Hotspur, they beat Aston Villa by 4-1. Manchester United drew against Chelsea, 1-1 draw. And Newcastle United beat Arsenal Football Club by 1-0. Bournemouth beat Manchester City by 2-1. Ipswich Town play 1-1 draw against Leicester City. And Liverpool, they beat Brighton by 2-1. Nottingham Forest beat West Ham United by 3-0. Southampton beats Everton by 1-0. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, they play 2-2 draw against Crystal Palace. Michael, what do you make of one of the big game we saw over the weekend in the Premier League? That's the game between Manchester United and Chelsea Football Club. Did that game live up to expectation for you?
For me, I do not think so. It did not actually live up to the expectation for me. In fact, both teams were very, very lackadaisical in taking their chances when it matters most. The game were up for taking for Manchester United, especially within the first 15 minutes of play. Then again, the game was also open for Chelsea for the take when Manchester United began to, be loose in front of their defense line. It would have been a glorious opportunity for Chelsea to take home all 3 points, but then they find it difficult to find that man, that was going to make the difference out there. Cole Palmer, that should have made a difference, was completely man-marked by Emmanuel Ugarte. In fact, that was the only player I saw for the Manchester United side yesterday that was up everywhere. He was down, tracking every move of Cole Palmer. If not, Cole Palmer would have made a difference. So for me, I do not think that that game actually lived up to the expectation. I was hoping that it's going to be fireworks all through. For the fact that Ruud van Nistelrooy came in, did pretty well in his first game as interim manager when they took up when they took on Leicester City in the EFL Cup, whitewashed Leicester City 5-2. And that confidence was building for Manchester United fans and faithful across the globe. To them, okay, this is the Jesus Christ that we are waiting to come and deliver us from the shambles that Erik ten Hag has taken us. But then it wasn't to be. The man stood on the touchline. Courtesy of that careless mistake, I would say, from the Chelsea goalkeeper, talking about Sanchez, who for me is full of mistakes, actually gifted Manchester United that penalty, which Bruno Fernandes dispatched, into the far corner to give Manchester United a lead. But the celebration lasted for only 4 minutes before Chelsea drew level with that glorious and thunderous strike from the edge of outside the 18-yard box from Moise Caicedo, which proved to give the Chelsea all deserved point. But Immediately after that Moise Caicedo equalizer, there was a glorious chance begging for tapping, for Enzo Fernandez, but he just ballooned the ball. That is a glorious chance that would have given Chelsea all 3 points, but unfortunately, they missed the chances. Enzo Maresca did a substitution, taking off Pedro Neto. No, taking off, forgotten the player that he took off before bringing in Mikhailo Modric. I think that substitution for me was no. I think the player that needed to come in at that point in time was João Felix. João Felix has, that trickery on the ball. He can do those solo runs and knows how to dangle his way through defense and, lay the pass or even take a shot outside 18 yards. That is the man I was expecting Enzo Maresca to introduce into that game to make the difference, but it wasn't to be, as both teams were just very ordinary yesterday, failed to take their chances. So for me, I do not think that the game actually lived up to the expectation. But on the other hand, you want to say, yes, Chelsea playing away from home did pretty well, had chances to have killed the game, but then they failed to. Manchester United, on the other hand, when they also had their chance to have, taken the lead, even double the lead, they also failed. But in all, I think it was, a great outing as both teams shared the spoil yesterday. Not a bad one for Chelsea, because courtesy of that point, they've moved to the Champions League spots right now, because they are seated fourth on the positions, pushing back Arsenal to the fifth position on goal difference.
All right, so away from that, let's take a look at the Italians here. Napoli, they beat Atalanta. I beg your pardon, they lost to Atalanta 3-0 in that encounter. Torino lost to Fiorentina by 1-0. And Verona beat Roma by 3-2. Inter Milan beat Venezia 1-0. Bologna beat Lecce by 1-0. Udinese lost to Juventus by 2-0. And Monza lost to AC Milan by 1-0. In the La Liga, Atletico Madrid beat Las Palmas by 2-0. Barcelona beat Espanyol by 3-1. Sevilla lost to Real Sociedad by 2-0. Athletic Bilbao blew 1-draw against Real Betis. And as well, we saw Osasuna, they beat Real Valladolid 1-0. And Girona, they beat Leganés by 4-3. And as well, Alaves lost to Real Mallorca by 1. Alaves won Real Mallorca 1-0 in that encounter. And in the German Bundesliga, Freiburg played goalless against Mainz. Borussia Mönchengladbach, they beat Werder Bremen 4-1. And as well, we saw Bayern Munich, they beat Union Berlin 3-0. Eintracht Frankfurt beat Bochum 7 goals. I beg your pardon. Of course, Eintracht Frankfurt, they got, of course, a very impressive result down there, 7-2 in that encounter. Hosting Kiel, they beat Heidenheim 1-0. And Hoffenheim, they of course lost to St. Pauli 2-0. Wolfsburg played 1-draw against Augsburg. Borussia Dortmund beat RB Leipzig 2-1. Bayer Leverkusen played goalless against Stuttgart. In the French Ligue 1, we saw some interesting results as Toulouse beat Rennes by 1-0. Auxerre beat Rennes by 4-0. Le Havre beat Montpellier by 1-0. Nantes lost to Marseille by 2-1. And as well, Paris Saint-Germain, they beat ROC Lens by 1-0. Brest lost to Nice by 1-0. And Saint-Etienne, of course, they beat Strasbourg by 2-0. Monaco, they lost to Angers by 1-0. Lille played 1-draw against Lyon in that encounter. Michael, of course, there's a report coming in that Galatasaray want to, of course, keep Victor Osimhen in the team. They want to, of course, permanent his deal come January. What do you make of this one?
I think for me, there's nothing much to that news. We just wait to see until the January window opens before we can begin to talk about Victor Osimhen making his switch from Napoli to Galatasaray permanent. But It's a lot that Victor Osimhen needs to do right now in order to also improve his stock as well, going forward. I mean, he needs to focus right now on the business on the pitch of play, getting the goals, start scoring pretty well week in, week out for the Galatasaray. And that is the only way you will see other top clubs, come for his signature, other than remaining at Galatasaray for me. So I think it will be too early call to start discussing whether Victor Osimhen is going to stay permanent, because there's still a lot of issue with Napoli, Victor Osimhen and all of that. So I think at the end of the season will actually tell, especially the January transfer window, where Victor Osimhen will also have to make his own determination, and then Napoli as well will also have to make release their own statement regarding Victor Osimhen. So let's not start running faster than our shadow, but hopefully I want Victor Osimhen to continue to perform, to focus on the business on the pitch of play right now, other than being distracted with the transfer issue of Galatasaray trying to make his stay out there permanent. We know that he's been loved by the fans of Galatasaray, the Turkish giant out there, but then if he get to up his game, continue to get those goals, I see other big teams in Europe, coming for his signature.
All right, at this point, we'll call it a wrap on the show. Really been an impressive time this evening. Tomorrow will be another time where we'll make a return to bring the latest revolving round, the beautiful world of sports, on Sports Talk tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I tell you, it promises to be another exciting time. And special thanks to Michael for doing justice on the show this evening, Mike.
Always a pleasure.
Don't forget, Peace always a pathways to progress. You can go down to our different social media handles. Conversation, of course, continues right there. But we can't go without telling you that Alexander Zverev, of course, he's the sport extraordinaire. Of course, he won his fourth Paris Masters title, racking up a total of 1,000 points for getting that particular one. And I tell you, the man is looking forward to put up a very impressive performance in the ATP finals, and we'll see how that one, of course, will go down for him. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for watching.